This is the 8-9 Combo.
This is the 8-9 Combo. I'm Brett McKay. This is Harry Jones, and this is the Rugby Championship Post-Mortem following New Zealand's win over Australia in Auckland this evening, and with South Africa v Argentina in Durban still to come, mate. That was a frustrating game. I don't know what you thought of that one.
It looked same as it ever was. You know, you go to Eden Park and you have to be virtually perfect. Wallabies weren't.
Yeah.
They keep making their life so hard. Going down and then having to crawl back in. And as you know, that's just exhausting. And it starts to take its toll, I think, in position, territory, ability to clean rucks beyond 3 or 4. It just is exhausted. And I thought, holding up, I don't know how many times you guys held up the All Blacks over the line, but that is heroic stuff. Yeah. But it's just a hard way to make a living at Eden Park.
Yeah, it really is. There'll be so many moments they'd want back. So many moments they'd want back. And we'll get into it all very shortly. Before we rip into it then, could you please tell the lovely people, mate, why we would love them to subscribe to the 8-9 Combo? Mostly so they can see more frustration like this.
Because today you are sad, and if you subscribe, then you'll make Brett happier. And you should always want people who are sad to be happy. So just keep it simple. Stop wanking and push the button. Make Brett happy. Wait, that's a weird segue. Sorry.
No, that's not the reason to do it.
Stop wanking, make Brett happy is a weird tagline. No, but do make Brett happy, because he loves spreadsheets, numbers, statistics of all kinds. So when he sees that number go up, then he's happy and everyone else is happy.
That's true. That's certainly true. If you're listening to the 8-9 Combo on any of the pod platforms, then hit like, hit subscribe, hit follow, whatever it might be, and make sure your notifications are turned on, and hit the red subscribe button just down there on YouTube as well, and make sure you're not missing anything. And your notifications, make sure they're on so you're not missing any of this stuff as it goes out, as we sort of get back in towards our schedule. The Rugby Championship, round 5, mate. New Zealand 33 have beaten Australia 24 at Eden Park in Auckland, and with South Africa and Argentina to come in Durban a little later this afternoon, this evening, tonight, wherever you are. 5-word headline. Where do you want to go, mate? The winning headline becomes the pod title. What have you got for me?
Just holding on isn't enough.
Yep, that's pretty good. I had to count. I thought you'd
get close.
Over. I did. You went very close. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And that's, I'm very much in the same boat. Wallabies make life hard again.
I actually almost said that exact thing. Not the again, but I had making yourself hard, making your life too hard. And
you did say it before, and I've just changed my headline because you said it before.
That is a way of playing rugby that is, it always feels heroic. You feel frustrated, you feel like it's close, but when you actually go back and look at it, there was just some, I think you had to play downhill, and I think playing uphill with a referee that was going to ping a lot, anyone who was doing anything, it's just so difficult. And I could imagine, obviously we're in a WhatsApp group together, and we have a bunch of Aussies on there, our friend Chook, and there's the devastation of what might have been. That's the thing. That's what will kill you. And I would look more, instead of the referee, I would look at things like James O'Connor missing touch
3 times. Absolutely.
Just cannot do that. You cannot do that in those moments.
No.
And I think there was a line out not straight. There were just things you just think, we gotta get that.
Yeah, there was moments, and we're sort of getting into our 1-minute summary here now, aren't we? There were moments. I mentioned in the chat group that before the Wallabies scored their tries, like, I feel like there's a momentum shift here, and I can't really work out why. But there was a real momentum shift going into halftime, and then the Wallabies did score, which absolutely confirmed a a momentum shift. So it's 20-17 at halftime. That's the Australia trailing at halftime is not new this year. That's about the sixth time I think they've done it, but that's the shortest margin at halftime this year by a little way. So, they'd set it up really well. To me, it didn't really feel like there was any great momentum shifts in the second half. New Zealand just always were able to stay a step or two ahead, and it's because of kicks not going out, all that stupid rule allowance where ball can cross the plane and touch, but because you were in the air when you caught it, got back in the field to play, that's play on. I hate that. Silly little things like that. A few little forward passes here and there. Yes, there'll be plenty of people that want to say, what about this ruck referee? And what about this scrum penalty? And what about, yep, sure, there's lots of 50-50s you can look back at, but that is not the reason why the Wallabies lost this game. There's too many things that they did wrong themselves, and that's the frustrating bit at the moment.
It's kind of odd. I felt like the score at halftime sort of flattered the Wallabies, and then I felt like the second half kind of flattered the All Blacks. And so maybe it all came back. It's like if you sort of believe the 2017 too much, you forget that was really kind of a fortunate 2017. And it was fortunate because Beauden Barrett, misses a couple of kicks that makes that score very different.
Yes, true.
It stretches it out to a whole, try difference. The
and
other
then
thing
goes
is
down.
that the All Blacks played so much, and they had, I think, most of the ball. They had a much more carry meters. The Wallabies missed a lot of tackles. They had lost 9 turnovers. They only kicked 5 times, and they're down 3. And it felt like there was this poor. I'm not sure it was momentum so much as the All Blacks sort of played themselves out on their feet for a while. The Wallabies just, Lucan was just carrying really hard, cleaning really hard. There was some really beautiful direct rugby. And then you look up and go, 3 points? Oh, that's kind of weird. It just felt like the All Blacks scored every time they went in the red zone. And then they just didn't get to the red zone again. In the second half, it was the other way around. I thought Wallabies played some beautiful rugby at times.
They did really open them up at times.
Just nothing really, just the Maul try, but it didn't seem like they could flow anymore. By the end, when I looked at the stats, it was interesting because the Wallabies had still only kicked 13 times in the whole match.
Yeah, I just looked at that. There's only 31 kicks for the game.
Yeah.
For both teams.
Wild.
That's not a lot of kicking, is it?
Yeah, and turnovers, they did tighten up that a bit, but still, All Blacks had the field and the ball, 58-55. It was a funny old match. I do think there were these moments where I just wondered, like, I don't know what Razor Ball is, but I do know what Joe Ball looks like. And it's really fantastic to watch in how dogged, resilient, maniacal the Wallabies are. And it's such a change from 2 years ago, even a year ago under Joe, before he had got his guys, brainwashed. They just don't give up. So, I thought there was some really good moments. I thought that Harry Potter try where he cut through after good phases was amazing. I thought Ikitau was great.
Ikitau was great again. Yeah.
So there was so much to look at where you're a Wallaby fan, but in the end, that 33-24 sounds like a whole lot of other Eden Park misadventures, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and that's a really good way of putting it. You said that before. You thought the second half maybe flattered New Zealand, and I've just saw a couple of social comments just as I was quickly getting some stuff together before we recorded, along the lines of scoreline really flattered, final scoreline really flatters the Wallabies. This was a dominant New Zealand. I don't think that's the case at all. Like, there were long periods of time there where the All Blacks had no shape in attack, were really passive in defence. I don't think that's a dominant win by New Zealand by any stretch. We've seen dominant All Black wins at Eden Park. That wasn't one of them today. Yes, they did enough to win, and 9 feels about right. I don't think that's one of their best wins for a long time.
So I think the problem with the All Blacks right now is they're intermittent. And because of their intermittentness, there can be a 20-minute period of time with these All Blacks where they look unassailable. Just beautiful rugby. And they put that together at the beginning of the match. They seem to get away from it. They have mission creep. And then you work your way back in. But I think you're right. I think it felt like a 10-point win. I think I think on the day they looked like the 10-point better team, but when they upped the ante in the 22 and they got in there for ages, and so if you take away a few things and it changes the whole match, right? If James O'Connor doesn't miss those touches and there aren't so many turnovers lost, I'm just talking turnovers lost, like, don't blame anyone else, Wallabies. That game could look really different. The All Blacks would say back to you, and what if we don't get held up twice?
So, yes. What if Beauden Barrett kicks those first two conversions? All of that's true.
It still feels like a 10-point win to me.
Yes, and that underlines my point that it doesn't feel like a dominant win. Yeah, I completely agree with you. What worked well for New Zealand? What did they do right and well?
The start, it was crisp, I think, and Joe Schmidt will probably go to sleep tonight saying, I told the guys we have to start better, and then we didn't. So the foray I thought was good, crisp attack in the 22. The Caleb finish was almost
it was a
good try. Bit like drawn up on a training ground start to go 5-0. I thought the relentless entry with Artie and Cam Roygaard and Leroy Carter scoring on that second try again was really, really crisp. It just it had aspects of actual attack coach, X's, O's, arrows, and it felt really good. And then there was another moment in time where I felt like I think it was Roygaard who scored, and that seemed unassailable. So all those sort of set piece channels, people coming, just really the lines they ran were really good. I thought they busted a lot of tackles in that phase. Then they just went to sleep for a while. So and when they seemed to click on, and they really did click attack sometimes as well, like quick passer. I thought Roygaard played on the short side. Roygaard call it a lot. Blindside play was great. I'd say blindside play when Roygaard was pulling the strings, and they were in the final third. That all worked really well for the All Blacks.
Yeah, Roygaard was exceptional. Like, he makes such a difference to that New Zealand team. And the fact that, and the point that he played 76 minutes tells you how important he is to that New Zealand team.
He's so big. He plays big. He plays like Jost van der Westhuizen. He plays big. He plays quick. He changes his mind in the middle of service sometimes, confuses the ref, but also the defenders, and it sows mayhem. I love watching him play. He's one of those guys I like paying a lot of money to go to a place to watch Cam Roygaard play rugby, and I feel entertained because he just does things I could never do. I cannot even think about doing them.
The exceptional thing about Cam Roygaard is that has he played 15 tests yet?
This was his 14th, I think.
There you go. Yeah. So this was his 14th test. Aaron Smith feels like he played 10 years ago. That's the point being, that's how quick they've found themselves another world-class number 9. He's
Artie Savea, Will Jordan, Jordy Barrett, and Cam Roygaard are the 4 players right now that I feel like if they're on the pitch, they always have a chance. And
So when Beauden Barrett goes down in the 20th minute, and I'm still not actually 100% sure what he did. It was sort of shoulder, but he was also sort of clutching at chest area. I wonder if it's
it was a contact 2 phases before that. I saw
it was back the other end of the field.
Yeah,
it was when they came back for there was a knock on. I'm quite sure there was a knock on in the lead up to Leroy Carter's try across the other side of the field, and Barrett took a while to get up from that ruck.
Yep.
And it was then down the other end of the field he has to dive on that loose ball, and he's done. What was noticeable for the next hour after that was that it was Roygaard, Jordy Barrett. Jordy Barrett played a lot of first receiver in this game, and he'd play first receiver, and he'd fire the pass out to Damien McKenzie to play wide from there.
Yeah.
So that was a shift from New Zealand tonight. They
also used Jordy back at the. He held back on kick returns. Not that there was that many kicks to return, but it did diffuse a potential tactic that the Wallabies, I think, should have used more, which is a high ball, because the Wallabies, the All Blacks had been vulnerable to the high ball all year, and then I felt like Harry Potter was picked to do that, and then you guys didn't use it, and Suali'i in the air. I just think if you're looking
Corey
for
Toole was starting to win a few,
fractured rugby, You can never say this thing that you got to run, face, because it's just brutal. And that one kick over the top earlier on could have changed the game. So, and by the way, your man Lonergan, with a nervy start, but in the end worked his way into the match really well. His service was a lot better than Tate's. It puts people in the front foot, and his kicking is high. I don't know how much height he gets. I know that
Good player.
Reg on the show didn't like to have hang time stats. I like hang time stats. I wanted to see how hang timey that was, because it looked sky ball.
Yeah, no, he was really good. I was really happy for him. Yeah, he had a little got caught with a ball, got stuck behind someone's foot.
Yeah,
I reckon first second ruck in, so he wouldn't have liked that. But yeah, it was really good for the next hour after that.
That's another reason why I like Roygaard. I know he also did one of those, but in general, Roygaard's really strong with the ball on a messy ruck. And when people are flying, and Tizano and McRae are always flying around you and barging, I think Tom Hooper as well will barge really well.
Yeah,
Alatoa was a missile. I thought it was really good how Cam Roygaard just sort of goes, okay, I'm safe. I'm safe as houses. Yep. I will get there on time. And
he timed his exit, his extraction of the ball just perfectly for the barge. Yeah, that's right. I'm just quickly looking through my notes here. I've got sort of momentum shift written down here around about the half-hour mark. But at the same time, I'd written that the Wallabies were struggling in the air contest. From that point on, they probably didn't, because all of a sudden, you're right, Potter was winning a few, Jorgensen was winning a few, Toole was not necessarily winning, but he was doing enough to make sure that whoever he was up against, and it was often Will Jordan, it might have been Geordie Barrett a couple of times, they didn't get a clean catch on the ball. And so you're right. I think they should have kicked more than they did, because I think they were starting to get some pay on that. They were actually starting to build their kick retain numbers, and that might be a bit of a missed opportunity. Conversely, where are the Wallabies going to be ruining things for the next week as they head to Perth? Turnovers.
It's become such a litany that it's almost boring to say that the bad start has bedeviled them all year. And it's if you are honest about stats, you look at them, and you always talk about these big comebacks. You go, actually, it's really one of the stories of the year why they couldn't have had even better year. Is it just was always a comeback effort.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get there, and sometimes you fall short, like it's Argentina. This was another example of falling short. Cape Town falling short. It's just a lot of work, and I think there's the ability to maybe make the game tighter in that first 20 minutes, where yes, nothing really happens good for the Wallabies, but nothing happens for the All Blacks, and then you have a proper heavyweight title bout. The first 3 rounds, no one's really landing, and then you get into the match. Or like in cricket, build an innings. You don't need the opening batsman to be swinging for the fences. So. I just think maybe that's it. The flow of the game was so horrible for the Wallabies post that, when you just felt like, oh damn, 3 tries, really?
And that's the thing. Like it's 25 minutes in, it's 20 points to 3. Is that right?
And that's 3 tries, right?
Yeah, they kicked a penalty at that point. Yeah. So it's 20 points to 3. After 25 minutes, and they'd missed 2 conversions. But I think
the
possession
Wallabies like this. But the thing is, yes, they like it and they play well, but it's so exhausting.
Exactly, because the possession stats at that point, I reckon, was like 70-30. Like I might even be selling it short there. Joe Schmidt will have been asked again post-match in Auckland, are you happy with the way the Wallabies are able to get back into the contest and win the game? And he will again have a little chuckle and he'll go, yeah, but I'd prefer we didn't have to do it. And that was the whole. It was actually notable that he was out early this week saying we've got to start well. We can't keep coming from behind. We've got to start well against New Zealand, because otherwise they're just gonna do it again.
I had a tennis partner that for years she could never understand what I would say when I'd say, when we're up against a team that I think is better than us, we can still beat them if we make all the points really short. And she would go, how do you make a point short? And aren't you just trying to hit the best shot? I go, no, I'm never trying to do that. I'm actually trying to shape a game. I think the Wallabies have to shape their first 20, 25 minutes differently, or always be condemned to this sort of Oh, and now we're going to climb a mountain. And sometimes they do, and it's glorious. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Twickenham,
Yeah.
Ellis Park. We remember it's great. And then,
It's
but
great.
you look at it, it's still 50-50 rugby. It's you're 50% team then.
It's great to win second halves, but when your first half deficit is so big, it sort of doesn't matter.
And that's why it was interesting this match, because they did crawl in on time in the first half, and they went into oranges. You think they probably feel the better, happier team right now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
This is good.
I said as much on our chat group. That second try changes Scott Robertson's message at halftime. No question. So
that was big, but that game really was big for Razor. I hadn't thought about Razor at all, but think about Joe.
No,
Razor at 33-24, having dodged some bullets, been held up over the try line. He probably feels pretty good right now. He was staring down a barrel. I mean, I just think if he had lost that to you at Eden Park, everything would have been so bad for him.
Absolutely.
I mean, every single thing he's ever done would be questioned. What's Razor Ball? And I still don't know what Razor Ball is. I don't know what their shape looks like. It's like a mishmash. When they're in the red zone, they look beautiful. They look great, but they don't seem to know how to get there when they're not getting scrum penalties against the Wallabies. There was no scrum penalties. The scrums was just completely...
And there actually wasn't many scrums. No, I think Australia won their 3 scrum feeds for the game. And I think New Zealand's is only 5 or 6 as well.
The maul contest was interesting too. Sorry, you said what worked and what didn't. And I would have put down for the Wallabies. That was a hell of a maul try.
Yeah. Yeah. And their maul defense was actually quite good. But that's Salakai Loto. That's Tom Hooper. Taniela Tupou was big in the first
Alatoa
half
too. Yeah, a lot of
Alatoa had a big impact when he came on. Takiaho was held up in the 74th minute, so it's still 26-24 going into the last 5. How's Scott Robertson feeling at that point? Now Roigard scores his try a minute later, and that relieves everything. But that's the squeakiest of squeaky bum times.
That was such a good try by Roigard as well.
Yeah,
not just him,
really
but
well
the interplay, because sometimes
Tupai's little inline line. Yeah,
you had to throw it backward, but you had to do it sympathetically. And then Roigard had to reach back and make sure the ref and the TMO and everyone looks like it's backward, which it was. It was fine.
Yeah.
But on those moments, you really have to be soft-handed and very clear. And so many people will just duff that. That would have been...
There was 2... Yes. There was 2 really good passes in that could very easily have been thrown forward. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Very, very quickly, what does this next week look like for both teams now?
So you guys were on the top of the log. Now it's Blacks pending box. Yeah. So now it returns to more of a familiar narrative. Go to Perth. We're the underdogs, but we could spoil the All Blacks party. So I think that does fall nicely into the Wallaby narrative. Like, what if we stop our brothers from across the ditch from progressing? Like, it's almost like a weird, third place consolation.
Playing spoiler now. Yeah. The focus in Perth now will be like, let's get a Bledisloe Cup win. Let's finish the Rugby Championship 3-3, and I think that they would be reasonably happy with that, knowing that there have been long periods of time in this tournament where they've not played great and they have let teams get away from them. And yes, they've fought back in games, and yes, they've fought back and won games, but they're still making the same issues. So win 3, lose 3 feels about right for where this team is about now. But yeah, like the pressure's now off New Zealand.
Well, a year ago, the Wallabies would take 3-3,
in a heartbeat, rip your bloody arm off taking it. Absolutely, absolutely. Now
it's just that you get greedy now because Ellis Park happened, and then you had the moment of being on top of the log through round 4, and it starts to make you think. You start to dream. You go, and what if we go to Eden Park and sack the fortress? And if we win? True to form, Eden Park behaved like Eden Park always does, which is it lulls you in. It's not that intimidating. It sucks you in a little bit, and then you look up at the score at the end and you go, oh, shit, weren't even close really in the end. But I wasn't.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I wrote and we discussed this week, all the pressure was on New Zealand. This was a free hit game for Australia. It's completely flipped now. There's no pressure on New Zealand. They can go to Perth and they can win they can sweep the Bledisloe Cup series or they don't. It won't matter. The result is still the same for them. They retain the Bledisloe Cup.
For the Rugby Championship now, they have an ability to rest it back.
Yes, they can do that.
And they've got to go bonus point win in Perth, bottom line.
That's probably
true. They'll play open. You would think they're going to play a lot more like they did in that first 20 minutes for the duration. There are some tweaks they could make. Caleb Clark looked really devastating with ball in hand, and I think there's a way to get him the ball more, and they kind of got away from him. And I couldn't understand exactly why. It might have been that thing you talked about where they had Bowden off and then they had Jordy moving over. It might have been just a bit of a thing because Quinn Tupaia is not really a distributor kind of back. He's just a
no, but I feel like he did enough that he could easily come into 13 because Billy Proctor, he's a good player, but he wasn't really cited much.
Tupaia just takes people with him, man. He just
Quinn Tupaia is a very, very similar player to Lenny Kitau.
Yeah,
very similar.
I almost thought that Patrick Tuipulotu looked better for them as well in the middle. Than I'm just not convinced of Tupo Vai, not just because he's a villain to the Bok fans. I'm just not convinced of him on the heft side. And Patrick, he has the ability to just sort of bash that blues kind of style, and I thought that was really effective.
In the same way that Salakai Loto added to the Wallabies.
The two of them seemed almost like brothers out there, Patrick and Lucan. I thought those guys are just
canceling each other out.
Holes. And it was really good rugby to watch. I do think on the shape side, I still quibble a little bit with that drift defense when it gets too drifty, but when it becomes like tumbleweed, whatever, I don't like that. I don't like the old cowboy drifter in the desert. It just gave up too much easy meters in that phase when the intermittent All Blacks were ridiculously good. Then it came. I know it tightens up in the 22. It definitely does. Those holdups were not just luck. They collapsed in. But I still think they'll be filthy, the All Blacks at Samasoni being held up on that. That just was ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. That was just a brain fart.
It was actually really good technique from the Wallabies defenders on the line, and it's actually a wonder we still don't see more of this. This held up law or variation of the law has been in play for 5 or 6 years now, and teams are still only just getting used to the idea of just taking the hit and writing it down. And the Wallabies did that really well in that instance. So both teams are going to have injury concerns. Bowden Barrett's got to be under a question mark for next week. Tyrell Lomax, I felt like he did something to his hand or wrist. Yeah. Ethan de Groot failed an HIA, so he'll be out. So there's going to be changes in the pack. Tate McDermott was 100 to 1 of playing next week. I'd reckon that looked like it could actually be a bad knee injury. Wonder if Nick White might have to unretire again. So there's going to be some concerns there. Lenny Kitau went off with 20 minutes to play, and we haven't seen that this year. I don't know. If it was a tactical switch, it felt like a strange one at 20 minutes to go. So
because he's one of your playmakers. He's one of those guys who sets other people free, and
he's a linchpin.
I think that was what was called for in the end. Is you had to have magic moments. I think I was listening to the Kiwi commentators, and they were saying that when it was 26-24, there was still a lot of work to do. The field position was bad for the Wallabies, but that's when you needed those moments and something, and you kind of wondered, will it be a tool or an Iketal setting Suaalii free? And instead it just seemed like unless they get down and do a 5-meter maul, I don't know if they're going to score.
No, I'm with you on that. There was just because Suaalii had to go to 12, Daguna was playing 13. It wasn't the same. It didn't feel the same. And you're right. I couldn't see how they were going to find the points to win that game. That was the biggest concern. So obviously South Africa play Argentina in Durban tonight. Next weekend is the final round of the Rugby Championship. So Australia and New Zealand in Perth, Argentina and South Africa at Twickers in London. And so, it's all online. I suppose in theory, anyone can still win it. If South Africa win tonight, they'd probably be, I still feel like they'd be in the box seat.
In a new experimental law variation, the Stormers 35-0 win over Leinster, the champions of the earth.
Oh, so we're talking about the URC again now, are we?
No. The ELE has given the Box a bonus point, just like you got a bonus point for forward pass losing to Argentina. There's been a brand new law that I've just pioneered and proposed that the Stormers' incredible historic win 35-0 over the British and Irish Lions, Leinster, Leo the Lion. Embarrassed him.
The Box get a bonus point for
gave
that.
him a spanking, red cheeked. We should get a bonus point for that. Yeah,
that's up there with Parrots.
It's a proposal. The French always make weird rules. You guys make weird rules about orange and tangerine cards. I'm just saying
that is up there with Parrots in Cape Town calling the South African equivalent of Triple O.
No, it's very. The permutations are rough right now. Like if there was a draw, in Durban, for example, everything gets weird.
Everything is weird. Yeah. I reckon we're done. That's the first Bledisloe Cup post-mortem behind us, mate. Tell us what you think by following Harry and I on the socials. You can find the 8-9 Combo on the socials as well. Have your say here on the 8-9 YouTube channel. You can leave a comment on Spotify as well. We'd love to hear from you wherever that is. Ratings, reviews, shares, all of that. Do it wherever you can, please. This is the 8-9 Combo, the short side set piece combination you didn't realize you needed in a rugby podcast. I'm Brett McKay. He's Harry Jones. And we will be back in your ears in just a few days' time for another great rugby chat.
Come play with us.
Here goes Jones with another bruising run. He links up with McKay, who pops back to Jones. They can't. They won't. They will. What a try. The Dream Team Combo go in again.